So a very good afternoon. Yeah, I bid to the chairperson, organizing committee, and all distinguished speakers. So today I'll be presenting part of a larger study. Yeah, a case study actually. I'll need to try to upload my PowerPoint now, so please bear with me. There seems to be a technical glitch because I am using, I'm not using Google Chrome. So please bear with me till I try to upload my PowerPoint.
No issues, ma'am. Dr. Malani Ganapati has left the meeting. We'll just wait for her to join. So kindly bear.
Yeah, Dr. Richin, I'm still unable to share. Hello? Yeah, yeah, what's the problem? Sorry? All right, okay, let me do that then. Okay, so now I go to, sorry, present now. Window, yeah? Okay, fine, oh, finally. Yeah, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, okay.
Yeah, that's done.
Oh dear, I'm truly sorry for all the inconveniences caused. Okay, so a very good afternoon. Yeah, I bid to the chairperson who introduced me, the organizing committee, for a job well done. Yeah, we've been introduced to so many topics, yeah, in a very large area, and all distinguished speakers, thanks to them. Today, I'll be presenting actually part of a larger study. Yeah, it's actually a case study on the effects of a genre pedagogical framework, which to a certain extent can be perceived as effective in terms of overcoming English as a foreign language writing challenges of low proficiency Indigenous students. Now, Indigenous students in Malaysia here, we term them as Orang Asli. So I will be interchangeably using Orang Asli with Indigenous students, yeah? So I'll be, referring to them to a certain extent, yeah? So bear with me, yeah, as I'll be interchangeably using Orang Asli, and it means actually Indigenous students of West Malaysia who have unfortunately very low proficiency, English proficiency, and specifically poor writing skills. So the main purpose of this study actually examined the extent to which the genre-based pedagogical framework is able to overcome the challenges experienced by the low proficiency Orang Asli or Indigenous students in a Malaysian secondary school. It's basically a case study, yeah? So if any of you after this want to take it off with a larger sample, go ahead. That'll be very interesting. Okay, the methodology used is a mixed method design where the subjects, the students were randomly distributed to the experimental and control group and then exposed to the genre-based writing instruction, which is called the intervention. And basically, in the Malaysian classroom, the process-based writing instruction is the order of the day, where teachers use the process writing instruction to teach students writing skills. So in my study, I'm introducing the genre pedagogical framework because the genre is part of this English syllabus, in the Malaysian curriculum. So the analyzed data, included pre-test and post-test scores a survey questionnaire which comprised of 18 items and focus group discussions with the Indigenous students. Now the results actually, now this is basing on my abstract just to give you all an overall general idea as to what my presentation is going to be all about. So it is like a background kind of information, yeah. So the results here show that the genre-based approach was, I wouldn't say it made a significant difference, but was able to improve the Orang Asli students' descriptive writing. Yeah, so I looked at this genre, descriptive writing, and the experimental group performed better than the control group. Now, the control group, the teacher used the process approach, yeah, whereas the experimental group, the teacher used the genre pedagogical approach. So students' perceptions towards the genre-based approach were really positive. Yeah, they found it useful in improving their writing skills to a certain extent. Yeah, and it is not me plucking results from thin air. It is based on supporting evidence from the pretest and post-test scores. Now, what's the significance of this study? It may comprise a small number of students because it's a case study. However, there is something to take note of, is the proposed framework can be further enhanced by focusing on the aspect of grammar so that it meets learning needs of low proficiency, Indigenous or EFL, English as a Foreign Language, Orang Asli students. Yeah, so the genre-based pedagogical approach, the significance of it is that it can be implemented in the rural secondary schools. Now, that's our main concern. Unfortunately, we tend to neglect this poor rural Indigenous Orang Asli students. We always focus on the macro level, the achievement of the bigger, number of students who score A's. So my study is concerned with this small group of Indigenous students where actually a larger study will take off soon, from my perspective too and my group of researchers. The keywords are Orang Asli, Indigenous students, genre-based pedagogical approach, English as a foreign language, descriptive writing, and secondary school, because the study was carried out at a high school. Now, as we know, English is a lingua franca. I don't need to embark too much on it. The demand of English in Malaysia has greatly increased. Unfortunately, the Orang Asli students' writing skills are still lacking. That is the main issue which the study is looking at, So although students are exposed to 11 years of English language instruction, according to Darmi and Albion, 2013, Yamat, Fisher and Bridge, 2014, these scholars highlight there is still deficient in English skills among students. And this is specifically in the case of Orang Asli, the rural schools, which are underrepresented, a Malaysian Indigenous minority who have actually specifically poor English writing skills, besides speaking skills. And this was actually confirmed in Kasim and Adnan's study in 2005 and a study carried out by the Ministry of Education Malaysia in 2018 and Khan's study too in 2017. Now, according to Masron, Masami and Ismail, the Orang Asli, they are basically a collective Indigenous tribes residing in West Malaysia, and they actually consist of 18 ethno-linguistic groups with their own mother tongues and cultural practices, which definitely will lead to the influence in them learning English as a foreign language in the classroom. Now, according to Rekat Kabilan and Abdullah 2014, they consider these Indigenous students as not having proper access to quality education and the necessary resources for learning, unfortunately, because they are at the rural areas. And this actually basically is the main culprit in hindering their language development. Now, according to Mihat, he blames teachers as not being familiar with the Orang Asli Indigenous students and neither are they trained properly to deal with the students, and they lack guidance and support. Now, there is a need, of course, of positive pedagogical approach, and that explains my study, yeah, that can fulfill the requirements. And there is a gap actually in the literature that my study is fulfilling, yeah, and it is based on Ranganathan 2013 and Tanabalan, Siraj and Alias 2015, where they highlight there should be a positive pedagogical approach that can fulfill these requirements, prioritize in developing learners' confidence, and it has also to take into consideration cultural elements. So in this case, the genre-based approach for teaching writing, yeah, has confirmed to a certain extent to be viable, yeah, in helping Orang Asli students actually write better, yeah, in comparison to the process approach which is currently being carried out, yeah, in schools. Process approach is advocated by Highland. Now, the main aim of the study was to examine the extent, yeah, to which the genre-based pedagogical framework is able to overcome EFL writing challenges experienced by low proficiency Orang Asli students in a Malaysian secondary school. The larger study of mine will incorporate many more schools, yeah, and I hope to present probably in this particular conference, maybe next year, yeah, and you'll have a better idea with a larger sample, let's see, and a longer intervention, whether it has made a difference or a whole world of difference. Now, the research questions underlying this study are two. The first one is to look at the extent to which the genre-based pedagogical approach is able to address Orang Asli students, Indigenous students' challenges in EFL writing, and look at the students' perceptions of using the genre-based pedagogical approach as a framework to see whether it's positive or negative. But as I highlighted, yeah, when I presented the abstract, it was positive to a certain extent. Yeah. So I'm worried I may run out of time. Yeah, so basically, yeah, I'll go through the literature review very fast. Yeah, Swales highlights genre as a distinctive category of discourse of any type of spoken or written. So in this study, I looked at descriptive writing as a genre, yeah. Highland views it as abstract, socially recognized ways of using language created or shaped by the discourse community it belongs to. So, therefore, in the context of writing, genre is used to group, actually, excuse me, to categorize texts that share a typical linguistic style, addressing repetitive events, yeah, according to Torre, having a conventional style, yeah, certain readers and a particular purpose. So, all these elements are taken into consideration. So, according to Highland, yeah, language plays an important role in helping learners to reach specific goals in context, and the teacher has to provide explicit instruction on text structures and explains why they're written so. So, the main benefit of using genre-based approach for the study is that it helps low proficiency students, as I have highlighted earlier, in the process of language learning by focusing on linguistic resources rather than writing strategies, considering that they are already linguistically disadvantaged. Yeah? They are having low proficiency in the English language. Now, this study is grounded, yeah, by Rothary's learning cycle, which takes into consideration three main variables. Yeah? They are modeling, joint negotiation of the text, yeah, and independent construction of the text. Is basically looking at our Vygotsky's theory, social cultural theory, yeah, where the teacher actually guides students, yeah, from the known to the unknown. Then only it's fair, right? So basically, Rothary's model is so too. Okay, I'll just skip this. Okay, so yeah, this study used a mixed method design. It uses a quantitative and a qualitative approach. As I had mentioned earlier in the abstract, 3 instruments were used: genre-based lesson plans for the intervention adapted from Anne and Chaisri 2010, pretest and post-test essay questions according to the SPM examination format, meaning according to the high school main exam. Focus group discussion questions adapted from Tuan 2011. So participants were randomly assigned, as I had mentioned earlier. Now, the protocol here is any studies to be carried out in the school, or at the university, permission has to be obtained. So after obtaining permission from relevant authorities, an experienced English teacher was trained to use the genre-based approach in the Orang Asli classroom. And prior to the intervention, students were assigned groups and then were given a pretest. So the experimental group was taught using the genre-based approach, whereas the control group was taught using the process-based approach, which is the mainstream currency of the teaching of writing in today's classroom. The treatment in Malaysia, the treatment consisted of 4 60-minute writing lessons in which students from both groups experienced a total of 240 minutes of writing instruction. And after the intervention, students were given a post-test. The experimental group was selected to participate in a survey questionnaire, as I mentioned earlier, which comprised of 18 items. And after that, they were also selected to participate in the focus group discussions. Students' experiences and perceptions regarding the genre-based lessons were compiled and analysed. So the pre-test and post-test scores were analysed using paired samples t-test via SPSS V26. Questionnaire data was analysed using descriptive statistics represented in frequencies, percentage, and means, which I'll show you all in a bit. Focus group discussions were coded and interpreted using thematic analysis. So both quantitative and qualitative data were triangulated, to give credibility as usual to overall findings. Now, I'll be presenting, the data according to the 2 research questions. To jog your memory, the first research question: to what extent does the genre-based pedagogical approach overcome Orang Asli students' challenges in EFL writing? So, Levene's test was conducted on the experimental and control groups pre-test and post-test scores to determine whether both groups were homogeneous. So the significant values of the pre-test and post-test showed greater than the selected level of 0.05 with 0.02 and 0.197 respectively. So it indicates the variability in both conditions is not significantly different. Okay, this will be the table for the pre-test and post-test scores. Okay, these are the key findings. In the experimental group, the genre-based approach was considered effective, in terms of improving the overall descriptive writing in the experimental group, as the mean score indicates 2.769. Specifically, their communicative achievement, 1, organization 0.615, and the language aspect was 0.615. Whereas the control group, the process-based approach was effective in improving the overall descriptive writing in the control group, where the mean score registered was 1.462, specifically the organization 0.692 and language 0.385. Now, the genre-based approach was effective in improving the overall descriptive writing, no doubt, in the experimental group, specifically in students' communicative achievement, organization, and language as they were writing their essays. So by comparing test scores from both groups, the mean differences from the experimental group shows greater than the control group, except for the aspect of organization. Now, the statistical results suggest that the genre-based approach had a larger effect on students' descriptive writing. Now, y'all can go ahead and try out with other genres, narrative writing, and other types, compared to the process-based approach, especially in terms of their communicative achievement. Okay, now I'm going to my second research question. What are Orang Asli students' perceptions of using the genre pedagogical approach as a framework to overcome challenges in learning EFL writing? Let's look at the results. Now, overall, the data indicates that all students have low English proficiency even prior to the study. By backtracking the number of years beginning from secondary form 4, where the students were at the age of 16, the data suggests that most students begin learning English at age 6, preschool, whereas the rest begin at age 7, primary year 1. So the data indicates that students do not use English that often. Yeah. And this is the general bar chart showing the 18 items. Yeah. Now, I will go to the key findings. Now, based on mean scores of 18 items, it is evident that students are receptive towards the genre-based approach, in which they agree to most statements except for 2. And the mean score recorded 3. In the focus group, to bolster it, students generally agree to all questions pertaining to the treatment, with moderate agreement on 3 questions. Students reacted positively to the genre-based approach as they found it useful in improving their writing skills. And this shows a correlation. So this finding is in line with Chaisiri 2010, in which students reacted positively towards the genre-based approach. So there's a correlation in that. They also became more confident in their writing skills as they were able to interact with the teacher and actively participate in the writing activities. As I had highlighted to you earlier, this study is bounded by Rothery's model, where students initially do the modeling of the text, then they do the joint construction, and finally they are thrown into the deep blue ocean, where they are supposed to independently write. Some students did still face challenges in EFL writing under the genre-based approach. That's not deniable. Rome wasn't built in a day. Therefore, in such a short intervention of time, it would have been impossible to improve all students' writing skills. So when queried on genre aspects, half of the students demonstrated little understanding towards the purposes, audiences, content, and organization of the genre specifically. So this could be due to the limited exposure to genre-based instructions, and students need more time, as practice makes perfect, So they need more time to practice writing and, of course, internalize the genre writing techniques. 2 students who were unable to understand the language of the genre after being taught due to their poor grammatical skills. They found it hard as they don't know how to write in the past tense, being unable to grasp verb conjugation. Example, eat becomes ate, So this finding suggests that more emphasis should be placed on grammar writing for an effective genre-based framework for students who are linguistically disadvantaged. And this is according to Highland, So for this study, the genre-based pedagogical approach was effective in improving EFL Orang Asli students' writing, and no doubt had a larger effect than the process-based approach provided by the mainstream English syllabus. The students involved in the study reacted positively to the approach as they found it useful in improving their writing skills, which again correlates with their improved test scores. Although the approach was able to cater to their learning needs in improving their EFL writing, according to Mihat 2016, Wahab and Mustafa 2015, Yamat et al. 2014, some students did still face challenges despite being exposed to the genre-based instruction, notably their weakness in content and language, specifically looking at their background being low proficiency Indigenous students. So this study recommends that the genre-based pedagogical framework can be further improved by incorporating more grammar-related activities so that it meets the learning needs of Orang Asli students lacking in EFL writing skills. And this is confirmed by Kasim and Adnan, 2005, Ministry of Education Malaysia 2018, and Khan 2017. So teachers from rural schools can make use of this framework so that they are better informed of needs and further improve on their current teaching methods. We all have our different styles, we all have our different teaching methods. So this genre pedagogical framework can be taken into consideration when it involves especially low proficiency students, teaching low proficiency students. Therefore, the study recommends future research to include large goals and extend the period of intervention. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Ganapati. It is really a privilege, and on the behalf of organizers, I say thank you for giving us an insight about the indigenous group of students and the challenges that they have. And as a part of organizing team, I invite people for questions. Is there any question? Ma'am, before people come up with questions, the participants come up with questions, I would like to tell you that a very similar project I have also done. It is for the students who are living on the Indo-Pak border in Jammu and Kashmir. So they
Okay,
are also very low in speaking English.
I
So
see.
one of the schools had contacted me and helped me to design an extracurricular module out of the syllabus so that it can help students to understand English in a better way. So your paper had been really a great insight, and I'm sure that if ever in future I have to conduct research, I will go through the methodologies that you have described. And
Sure.
ma'am, it is really grateful that you have in depth described the methodologies, how you proceeded with it, the challenges and the cooperation from the authorities, the treatment and the procedure of the research program, and the tools of data analysis. These are really a great insight for any person who is who have to take or who plans to take any such program. Thank you, ma'am. I'll again ask, is there any question,
Now,
ma'am?
I'll be publishing. Thank you very much for all those positive remarks. I will be publishing this paper, and I'm on ResearchGate. So if my when my paper is published, I will upload it on ResearchGate. Yeah, and y'all can have a chance to read it better. Yeah, in terms of the elaboration part of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I call to close this session. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.